Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. Okay, it's been almost a week. Almost a week. So I'm going to release this on Thursday, but I'm recording this Wednesday night, and so on Thursday it'll be a week. So last Thursday it happened. Aptera did their direct listing, and it was a wild ride the first day. A lot of you guys joined us for the watch party, and sorry I was kind of minimally involved in that. I would have liked to have been more involved, but I was on a trip, and I was staying with some friends of mine, and I just I couldn't be a bad house guest and just like camp out in front of the computer. They had all these things planned for us. They were very gracious hosts. Anyway, so I had to kind of like leave the thing running and take off, but I was watching it peripherally, and we started at 9:30. Nothing happened. I was under this delusion that it would start trading right away at 9:30 Eastern time, but the trading didn't really start until right around noon, and then it hit the market at about $19 a share, and then it shot up to $22.50 a share, and then I was like, wow, that's pretty good because I honestly thought that the valuation wasn't going to be that high. So just to recap, for most of the recent crowdfunding and for the accelerators, they got in at a price of like $10 a share. I think it was $10.80 a share. Then there's a 3-to-1 reverse split, which means their cost basis was essentially they bought shares at $30 a share, $32 a share, roughly around there. And then the most recent round, if you didn't invest a lot of money, you were paying $14-15 a share, which means with the reverse 3-to-1 split, you were paying $45 a share. So basically, if you bought at $10 a share or $14 a share, which is an adjusted cost basis of $30 or $45 a share, you definitely lost money as soon as it hit the market. And so that's the nature of these startups. Remember, there's a chance you lose everything, and that's hopefully everyone who got into it understands that. So if you got in at that, you were, unless this price went over $30 or $45 a share, you were losing money in terms of an investment. And this is something that I kind of this is something I kind of suspected, and that's why I don't know if you guys remember. I talked to Steve and Chris back in March of 24, and I asked them this question.
Okay. And then my last question is, as you guys mentioned, the equity markets have been terrible for EV stocks. Like they've gone down like 90%. Any EV company that's not named Tesla has gone down 90%. And Tesla's actually falling a little bit lately too. Given that, do you think that Aptera's pre-IPO valuation should be adjusted?
Adjust it up, maybe.
Yeah, we've seen the turmoil in the markets for sure, but you know, we're entering into a whole new market segment here, and you know we have $1.7 billion in orders. We created.
Okay, so anyways, I was thinking, so this was back when it was $10 a share, and I was thinking that was a bit overvalued, because that would put Aptera's valuation at close to $1 billion, which I couldn't figure out how it was going to be worth $1 billion when they haven't produced anything yet. I mean, they have a lot of orders. They have enthusiastic fans, very very novel concept, very good ideas. But I don't know that that's enough to justify a close to $1 billion valuation. So, anyways, I was not surprised by this valuation, and then when it went up, I was kind of surprised, and then it like tanked pretty hard for the next couple of hours, and it went down to like $3.50 a share. And when it was going down, I was like, oh boy, here it comes. It's gonna tank to like I was thinking it was gonna go under $1 a share, and then they would face delisting from Nasdaq on day one. Luckily, that didn't happen, so it found some support there. It rallied up to about $9-10 a share, and I think it ended the day. Yeah, it ended the day around $8 a share. Then the next day, it stabilized. and it went down to like $5.50 a share, but then ended at about that $6 a share. Yeah, it went down to about 5.2, and then it ended at like 6.5. And then the next, so yeah, over the next couple of days, it fluctuated around the $7-8 time, about that valuation. Now, something really interesting happened today, right here. So here we are today, Wednesday. It started the market at about $5.50 a share, and it kind of hung around that area for a while. And right around 3:15, there was this huge surge in volume and interest, and it went up from $5.29 up to about almost $7. So something happened here, and I don't know what it is. One thing that did happen around this time was this. There was
I mean, it might be a little
Fox
bit
News had
above
this thing on something called the Clayman Countdown, and it was wild because as they were talking, so here's Aptera Motors, 5.6, and you see it like going up as he's talking. So one thought process is, was the exposure on this Fox Business show what caused this huge surge? I mean, I would like to think that, but it seems pretty unlikely that this show would cause that much of a surge. I looked up the viewership of this show, and the viewership of this show, like, look, it's like up 8% now. The viewership of this show is about 140,000 people. And let's say, I mean, if every single one of their viewers decided to go in on this, then maybe that could account for it. But I can't believe that like every single person that's watching this show decides that they're gonna go and make trades on Aptera like right away while this is happening. So yeah, this is crazy. So like, watch. I'm gonna skip forward in this video a little bit. Yeah, look at that. Now it's up 23%. And so during the course of this interview, it went up from like 2% right here to up towards the end is like up 24%. That is wild. So we on Discord we've been discussing what is the reason for this. There's what accounts for this massive increase in volume and price. So one possibility is it is that show, because the show did air right around that time, and you can see the thing going up as they're talking. But like, see, look at the volumes here. The volumes are in the like 80, 90,000s. So the volume, so watch here for the volume. So the volume's like 80,000, 40,000, like every minute they're like the trading volume's like 80,000. I cannot believe that this show that has a viewership of 140,000 is getting 80,000 people to do trades per minute. That seems wild. I guess that's the number of shares being traded, so it's not the number of people. So maybe there was someone with a lot of money that watched this show and was like, I'm getting in on this. That's a possibility. Or just it's serendipitously someone else, some institutional buyer or some other large like kind of white knight investor started to buy shares at that time, and a lot of shares. But that's pretty exciting. Those people that got in the WeFunder round and were paying like less than $1 per share if they got in early, those people have made quite a bit of money, because at less than $1 a share, their cost basis was like $1.50 or something, and now they're up to like $7. So they've made 400%. Also, if you go back and you were smart, like this, I just held on to my shares. Why is this not working? Okay. I just held on to my shares, but if someone got in, was like, if I was smart, this is what I would have done. I would have sold it at 20 when it was, and then rebought it at 3. And then I would have, 5 times the number of shares that I do now. And then I would have made an instant profit of like double 200%, 100 to 200% from $3 a share. I guess it's 100% increase. So I would have doubled my money over the past 5 days. So people that got it, okay, those of you guys who bought here at $3 and but like $3.50, you guys did well. Anyway, this has been fun to watch for the past 5 days, and I would say I don't know what you guys were expecting the price to stabilize at, but stabilizing around $5 to $7 a share, that to me seems pretty good, like a pretty good outcome. I think that this is going to be a very volatile stock. It's been volatile, swings of like 10% a day. And my guess is what's going to happen is every time that there's good news, we're going to see the stock price spike up. But then the tendency of the stock is going to be to trend down slowly, because as time goes on, people are going to want to see production. And every day that goes by without production or good news is going to depress the stock a little bit. But every time there's some good news, you're going to see a spike up. So I think we're going to see like spiking and then slowly trending down and spiking and then slowly trending down. And then if they make it to production, we're going to see a huge spike, I think. Like the stock price is going to go way high. This is just my guess. Again, I'm not a financial, this is not financial advice. Do not follow me for financial advice. Those of you who've been watching this show, you know that I have the absolute worst track record. But this is just me speculating on what's going to happen. So that's what I think is going to happen. And then, of course, if they go into production and they sell well, I think the valuation could go up. And, I think at that point, a valuation of close to $1 billion makes sense. Right now, let's see, what is the market cap? So the market cap is $180 million, which I think is a reasonable valuation for the company. When it was down here, I think the valuation was like 150, 140, which I think is also reasonable. So I think like 100 or $200 million is like a reasonable valuation for Aptera at this point. That's just my opinion as a non-financial professional. And as a person who has an extremely poor track record of picking stocks and valuing companies correctly. Like me, I personally think Tesla is way overvalued, like ridiculously overvalued, and I would never buy them. But I thought that when their valuation was 10 times less than it is now, I thought they were overvalued like 1,000% ago. So you can see how good my valuation is. I'm basically really terrible at it. But I think if they get to production and stuff, this valuation could go up a significant amount. And then of course, if they don't make it to production, this valuation is going to drop to zero or very close to it. And so I think those are like, that's the trajectory you're looking at. Either you're going to do very well in the stock, or your stock is going to go essentially to zero. And that's the nature of these, startup companies. You're either going to have you have this super risky thing where it could go to zero, but the upside could be pretty big as well. All right, so let me know what you guys' thoughts are. What's your thoughts on the first week of Aptera stock? For me, it's been fun to watch every day. I check this. I check the stock price like pretty much 10, 15 times a day, way more than I should. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.